It's time for Washington Fish Quest. This episode, Yakima Urban Bank Bassin.
Hey Washington Fish Questers, Blake here. I am joining you from historic Palm Springs of Washington, that is. Yeah, that's right, I'm in Yakima. So before I started doing Washington Fish Quest, I lived in Yakima. And although I'm not originally from here, you know, you live in a place long enough, it kind of becomes a part of who you are and your psyche and all that stuff. So I do like to visit, and I feel like it's pretty overlooked as far as fishing goes in this state and video content out there. So I'm taking you to Rotary Lake. It's located on the historic Yakima Greenway, which the Yakima Greenway Foundation has kind of slowly purchased this outstanding 20-mile long just trail. It's 20 miles of paved trail. I think it's even longer than that without the paved trail. That has a bunch of lakes and parks, and you know, they run marathons on it, and there's lots of biking events, that sort of thing. Great access to the Yakima River from the Yakima Greenway Trail. So just a wonderful boon to the community. Right now I'm walking down the trail to the lake. It's about a third of a mile from the parking lot. If you're not from here and know how to get there, it's Google Maps will not do you well. You're going to want to type in Rotary Lake Park and Ride. Otherwise it will make it look like you're going to jump off the side of the freeway. But I really like it for its shore fishing, for panfish, and for bass. It's one of those lakes that if you just want to have a good time, put a night crawler under a bobber and see what hits it. It's got this nice little fishing platform here. Might as well start there. Usually there's people on it, but no one right now. Geez, that might just be because of the shades I'm wearing, but I can really see it. It's clear water too. I'm really surprised. Tell you what, I'm going to put on a helmet cam because that might be a cool way they can actually see the fish and sight fish along with me. Here's my new helmet cam. It's actually pretty nice. You know, I usually go for the cheap stuff, but I treated myself, I guess. So this is a DJI. It's their newer product. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, even though it's on the top of my head. All right, so to start off, I'm going to use a Rebel Crick Hopper. So this is one of their newer lures. You know, I really like their double lures, their jointed lures. I mean, they have a joint in the middle. They don't seem to make those anymore. But this is one of the ones that's pretty common. It's called a Crick Hopper. It's a little grasshopper imitator, I guess. Well, shoot, from this casting platform, since these Rebels are all crankbaits, I'm having a hard time getting the lure low enough, you know, in the water column, because I'm standing about 6 feet above the water as it is. So I might have to scrap my little nostalgic Rebel lure, I don't know, gimmick for now. Switch to something that actually sinks. Well, there we go. Oh boy. Well, I was using this Crick Hopper to catch a big bluegill. Caught one. Oh well. Well, I'm going to abandon this and move on to other parts of the park. There we go. I had my head cam off, was just about to move like I said. So glad I kept this camera rolling because I got this guy. He just came out and grabbed it. This is what I was going for. This is a pretty average Rotary Lake bluegill. They're really nice. They're great eater size if you wanted to keep them. I'm going to let this one go right now. But and I've caught them much bigger than that out here. They get really big. So sometimes when you're using a crank like that, just like some cheap Rebel crank or whatever else, you'll just stack them up. Like sometimes they'll be really aggressive and just be whacking them. Not the case this day, but through the power of imagination, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to move on, and I think I'm going to start targeting some bass. But before I do, I'm pretty hungry. So let's go get something to eat.
All right, I'm in Yakima. I grew up in Lewis County. One thing that Yakima and Lewis County have in common is there's a ton of good Mexican food, and I'm in the mood for a big wet plate. So I've heard great things about this place I've never been to. It's called Mi Sazon, which I'm told in Espanol is my seasoning. I ordered the carne asada plate. Let's see. This just got dropped off for me. I just got my food. Holy smokes, look at this spread. Looks so freaking good. And here is the tortillas. Yeah. That's a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. That is phenomenal. Yeah, I could eat.
Yeah, well, that was just a wonderful meal. I might be floating, A, because it was such a blissful meal, heavenly really, and B, because I don't know if I can see my feet anymore after putting that down. I had to go thank the chef. I mean, it was one of those meals where it's like, I gotta shake your hand, like it was really good. I'm not a big time basser, so when I do bass fish, I need to make my licks count. So I like to use senkos. They're very simple, and let me talk to you about them right now. So there's 3 different sizes. I got a 3, a 4, and a 5 in there. I tend to use the 4s, I think, the most, but I'll go 5. You might as well go big sometimes. And there's 2 different ways to rig them. There's a Texas rig that looks like this. You have an offset shank hook, and you put it through the senko like that. You let it dive like this. I used to use this most of the time, but then I went to 50-50, and now I almost exclusively wacky rig them. So let me talk to you about that. And here's what a wacky rig looks like. So it's a willow rubber band in the middle. They make them specifically for senkos. This one's just a black band. Some of them actually have like a second little loop to put the hook through. I don't really think that's necessary, but I do have some of those as well. And you let these sink and you treat them like this, and it just sets the bass off. They just go nuts for it. Even pretty lazy bass that I can encounter in Western Washington. So yeah, it's like I say, it's pretty foolproof. And speaking from a bass fool here, and I like to use a kind of larger finesse hook. This is a very stubby hook, but it's like a wide finesse hook. Other people use a lower profile hook than I like to use. I just really like the hook set on these hooks. So I like to sneak up to these spots and not go right to the edge of the water. I'm going to stand about 15 feet back from my initial cast, because these bass, whether I get one here or somewhere else, they're pretty used to jabronis like myself showing up and trying to get them from shore. So I don't want them to see me, and hopefully I can get some of that first cast magic, All right, there's a huge bass down this hole down here. I'm going to sneak up. I believe this calls for a 5-inch senko for sure. If it sees me, I'm toast. I'm sure he sees many, or she, more likely, sees many lures a day. But yeah, real nice bass down there. I'm going to see if I can't sneak up. Well, the bass yawned at it. Pretty sure it was trolling me. I'm sure that bass sees several lures a day, and it kind of went out, looked at it, but yeah, it wasn't enough. There we go. girl. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Oh. That is what urban Yakima Rotary Lake Bassin's all about. Look at that girl. Oh yeah. That was first cast, she went for it and missed it, put it right back there. Second cast, again, it pays to be stealthy, you know. It pays to have stealth with these bass. I'm gonna get her back in the water here. But yeesh, you just made my day. You just made my day. Probably Mrs. Bass. Woo! Well, hey, on that cheery note, I'm gonna start heading back over the pass. I'm here middle of the day. It's actually 3 p.m. right now. I probably got into that bass at like 2:50, and you know, basically just fished kind of around lunchtime. So it was the fish are kind of lethargic right now. So don't let my video fool you. This is a very productive lake, even though it's right outside of Yakima. So thank you so much. See you next time on Washington Fish Quest.